Certainly, certainly.
The arsenal cluster.
Definitely, brother.
Never a call for heavy artillery, brother. That the idea for the ultimate result, brother.
Yes, brother, definitely. Because these Iblisis are seriously, out of their mind. That's the truth, brother. They're seriously out of their mind. But I mean, what we're doing, we're opening up the platform to dialogue, constructive dialogue, as to what our main problems are in terms of being a Muslim community,
Brother, have you not thought of podcast?
Well, that's in the works, but seriously, just sitting down and discussing the issues. Because, everybody has their own mind, and there are reasons why people haven't spoken up. So we're just trying to get to the root of that, And of course, what's that?
Everybody has their own issues.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, we are all community members, we are all citizens of Islam. So we have to be able to sit together and just talk about the issues. Those of us who call for the group to come together, we are just there listening in and practically giving feedback whenever necessary. But people who are coming there for the first time are those who are listened to first. But it makes a big difference when a person knows their identity, their purpose, they have a sense of belonging to the oath of allegiance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they feel that they have a voice. They feel that they have their voice, their opinion counts.
They say so.
Yes, everybody has a right in Islam. Everybody has a right. There's no way. We're getting through a lot of the issues, and just look at one of the issues of the disconnect and disunity. Do you really believe that would be the case if the community made it a point to sit together every month, constantly, steadily, not just some general assembly once a year? This is not the way. Would you have that disconnect? No. Would there be a miscommunication when everybody feels that they have the voice and the voice is all one? No. Excuse me, that would not be the case. Yeah. But if you were to address some of the issues, what issues would you be addressing? What issues do you actually see, first of all?
Oh, issues. You mean dealing with the community?
Correct.
As a whole?
As a whole.
I can only push to the youth, man. The youth, which is the fruit of the youth, man. Retention of the youth is that's why I said, retention of the youth. Because they're the future, That is the future. The youth.
So you feel that the youth are the future. Is that to say that they're being short-handed now? The youth have been short-handed. That's why when you're asked about the problems, you give the solution with the youth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe they're getting short-handed now.
In what way?
When it comes to marriage and those things, and family, and those, marriage and the family, and making sure Muslims are marrying Muslims, and raising Muslims,
That's very interesting. That's a new one for me. So are you saying that nobody is paying attention to see to it that Muslims are marrying Muslims?
Yes, for example, I remember my community coming up. We had a lot of boys, a lot of young men, boys, a lot of boys, and eventually those boys needed wives. And instead of communities communicating and realizing, yo, we got a lot of boys, we got to get these boys some Muslim wives. There's communities out there that I'm sure that had the same issue, but backwards. We got a lot of Muslim girls that gonna need husbands. There's a network there, because family is important, man, when it comes to the growth of the youth and direction and stuff like that. And I just, we didn't have that opportunity. A lot of the girls that were raised in the masjid with us were kind of like our sisters. We didn't see them as wives and stuff like that. So a lot of us that still had to go to, Christian school, not Christian, but I say public schools and things like that. You got the dealing with the Kufa women, the Kufa girls, things like that. Because you were, you spending time with them too, going to school. You know what I'm saying? You go to masjid and stuff like that. And the one that you should, I think there's maybe one couple from the families that I come from. One couple still together, Jenna and Muhajir, Awakil. One couple. Everybody else kind of married out, and either a woman converted. The Adiolas did that. You know what I'm saying? Married converts or whatever. But it wasn't stressed to us, the importance of having a Muslim wife to raise your Muslim children.
This is very remindful or very reminding of the fact that, yes, the society is built based off of the examples set by the predecessors of this society. So I think that it's a fair question is, marrying non-Muslims, isn't this something that a lot of parents, or isn't it something that has been in earlier generations?
Yeah, because what are you talking? Are you talking? We're all Muslims.
Well, so if I'm talking, let's take it a step. I wouldn't say as much in.
No. You have us that were African American Muslim, and then you have Muslims that were,
correct. Right. So as far as
you remember Sabine Reza.
Okay. Yeah, we remember Sabine Reza. Okay. But again, the question, let's try and stay away from a little too professional in the questioning and the answering, but let's stick to it. Again, do you feel, especially when you talk about the community as a whole, did you not see a cross-religion marital going on anyway, in the community as a whole? In other words, this is something that the society has been, dealing or accepting.
You saw community. You saw polygamy. You saw other things. That you were kind of saw, but weren't really instructed on how to go about it. The proper way and things of that stuff. But you have to, every man is entitled and expected to do his own research once you come of age. You know what I'm saying? And know better.
Mm-hmm.
Is this not correct?
This is very correct. It's really, again, intriguing because, when you say that your youth are not finding wives, then the girls, they're not finding husbands either, isn't it?
Exactly.
So this is a very big disconnect.
Exactly. So the daughters that are Muslim, they're raised, and then they see, their peers, and they, maybe they don't want to share a husband like their mom did.
Okay, so that's actually a different thing now, because now you're talking polygamy. There's another issue
I'm
where,
just saying, or maybe they just are attracted to such and so Joe Marquise Joe Blow, who, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you know. And now she has, you know, a child by that brother.
or that mojo.
Or that brother, you know. And then, you know,
Brother Mojo?
not Mojo, but, you know, not
Brother, are you saying Brother Kufar?
a brother who wasn't raised a believer, is what I'll say.
Okay.
A young brother who wasn't raised a believer.
No, I just want to make sure I understand, you know, what it is that you're...
just a young brother, not a bad or good. You know, he might be very decent in fact.
Okay, but basically, are you saying that they're non-Muslim, or...
I'm saying they're non-believers. They don't believe what we believe. We're
They're
I feel we're those that are aware, and you know, we're conscious in a sense. And those people still subject to a kind of thought that you know, that's been forced upon them. You know what I'm saying? In a sense,
Right.
you know, for you to take a name, you know, that ain't, you know, I mean, the slave master's name. You know, a lot of them have, you know, old slave master's name.
Yeah, so it's also a lack of identity, a consciousness of, you know, who a person... Yeah.
Exactly.
This is an interesting, you know, it's an interesting topic, very interesting to notice that, you know, people are expressing different problems, but at the end of the day, the root is the same.
But it comes back to the family. I mean, I'm telling you, the structure.
Well, but because you also need to understand that there are families that had, you know, Muslim parents, but the children still strayed away from Islam. You still had that.
Yes.
So I wouldn't just stop at the fact that people are not being married, you know, to one another, you know, in an organized fashion or in a community mindset. But the fact of the matter is there is a very large amount of misinformation that people have been living their lives on.
Where did you learn your values before you get your values?
Well, that's why they're supposed to all be learned at home.
Exactly.
And if the home, even if they say one thing and they believe the same thing, but they don't have knowledge in applying that belief system. And this is where a lot of people, it's bad enough. Muslims today do not understand the Shahada properly, never mind be able to live it. So in those instances, you have mother and father, they're doing whatever it is that they think they can in order to get, you know, some Islamic education to the kids. But the educational system itself is diluted from a root way before it even came to America. And so, you know, without having the authentic education or the authentic information, you know, you're just closer to being further and further away from the truth. And so that's what you have. The root of the problem is really having the lack of information to even implement the Quran. Just to implement one book. Just imagine, it's one book. It's less than, you know, all the books that you learned in elementary school. How is it that in Muslim countries today, you have people going from preschool all the way through university, but they cannot even learn this one book? The same people who call themselves Muslim. There's something wrong with that picture. They don't know the Quran, and they study other books, and they get certifications, and they get degrees, and they get extra recognition, just like Western, society, academia. They followed that model until now. They further away from the Quran. The Quran was all they had to implement, according to the Prophet ﷺ, but they furthered away. And then they got it over here to the Western hemisphere and diluted too many things in the process because they were struggling so hard to please the mushrikeen, and therefore left the deen as they are now pleasing the mushrikeen, as Allah Ta'ala stated they would do. And so I'm saying, yes, there are these issues, but it actually came earlier, and this is the remnants of it. But again, sitting down and talking about these issues, we're going to find that every last one of them has a solution. And those that we don't think have solutions, when we stop to really contemplate over it, they do. But it's not going to be an overnight solution. You have to sit and you have to go through the issues, one after the other. But once you categorize them, that's it. See?
Okay.
That's it. Shut up.
Uh-oh. Somebody said.
I'm right here, bro.
Oh, boy. Yeah, brother, so we're going to have to continue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. What did you say?
No, I said I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not.
No, I could hear you. You're on the... But does that make sense, though?
It all makes sense.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we will, continue work with the brothers incorporated, brothers intelligence incorporated services, brothers.
Yes,
all the allied coalition forces.
Yes, brother.
Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, brother, give me a call. We're gonna have to, do some extra activities.
Okay, brother. Inshallah, give me a couple of days and I will call. Inshallah.